So let's talk about CWHM, Cruel World Happy Mind. I've literally never heard of this channel. The Fall of H3, how Ethan Klein destroyed his career. Oh, let's go. Let's go. All right, we'll watch this. This is not 3 hours long, is it? This is 3 hours long? Okay, never mind. We're not watching this. No. We're not watching this whole thing. What are the chapters in here? Let's give her the intro.
What we do here is go back.
Oh, she borrowed the go back from iDubbbz and probably borrowed it from someone. Yeah, maybe we'll watch. I'll watch the intro a little bit. God damn, it's a 10-minute long intro. That's too long. We do not have to watch this whole thing. Let's just get the vibe. Talked about the caller. CWHM. It's a good acronym.
I, Ethan Klein, have registered content new with the United States Library of Congress.
We are being sued for copyright infringement.
Theoretically, I could sue a lot more creators and rake in millions of dollars. Some of you guys out there sweating?
Dude is like a deep-rooted misogynist, like scary.
It's, women are in a nature setting, like, to be conquered. Like conquered.
Yeah, Ethan Klein definitely is a misogynist, so I'm looking forward to that if we have a section on that. Initial controversies, hypocrisy, petty fresh copying, frenemies, Triller. He was on Triller, Leftovers. We have a misogyny thing, suing streamers. Okay, well, let's...
You're not racist, right?
No. Yeah.
Okay. Then
He's a hypocrite
here.
because he said before, and someone makes a compilation. It's like, here's Ethan saying.
Ironic N-words are still N-words.
You either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
I've gone goblin mode over way less. I got the button. I'm ready.
You tune in to watch your favorite podcast. It's a casual stream where it feels like friends who are hanging out with you, talking about the funny things happening online.
I am a messy I say that all the time. I'm a catty, messy bitch. You were born fat.
I was always fat. Just a fat fatty. You look crazy.
And then I saw the back, and I was like, oh, that's pretty epic.
You remind me of Gypsy Rose Blanchard.
But suddenly, things start changing.
But at the end of the day, I don't care.
Is this like an ASMR channel, or is that just the way she talks? Like, is she, I don't know, I'm gonna have to see one of her live streams or something to see if that's kind of the vibe of the video.
I'm crazier than you are, by a lot.
He did react to this?
Insane. I don't care.
The host of the podcast starts acting out of character, focusing on dark corners of society, dark corners of the internet. Suddenly, the host thinks that everyone is against them, even you, the viewer.
Okay, dummy. All of a sudden, you gotta get all bitched out. Like, give me a break.
Yeah, he was focusing on, he was covering Aaron Bushnell in this clip. He wasn't covering the dark corners of the society or the internet. And he was ridiculing a guy for doing a protest against a genocide from a country that he supports. Like, that's why he was ridiculing him. Not really a dark corner of the internet, just a dark moment on his show. I'm not hating. Her voice sounds good. I'm just wondering if that's an added bonus for the people that watch her. I don't say that about every woman that we hear talk. I'm saying it specifically about her because she's, I don't know, man. She's like enunciating in that way.
You. So why are you expressing such dumb thoughts in my chat? So you're a fake fan. You. Get lost. I'm sick of it.
What was supposed to be your comfort podcast, the place you go after a long day, the place you went to relax, turned into a toxic war zone where the host is even launching campaigns against other people that you enjoy watching. You feel like you need to pick a side. The world is getting darker and darker every day, swallowing up your favorite content creator. And before you know it, you no longer recognize them.
Oh, hi there. It's me, your old friend, Ethan Klein. It's been a while since we've last spoken.
If this story's familiar to you, you may be a former fan of the H3 podcast.
I am a former fan, not a fallen fan.
Ethan Klein began creating content in 2011 in Israel alongside his wife Ela Klein, then girlfriend. By 2015, the H3H3 Productions channel exploded, hitting 1 million subscribers by 2016.
You may have heard that we hit 1 million!
That same year, the H3 podcast was born, with virtually equal success. But by 2025, most of the
I'm getting Uma Thurman vibes from this content creator.
H3 fans have abandoned them, with only a small group of very fervent supporters left behind.
I don't understand what's going on because it's November, which is usually your highest revenue month, and this was like our lowest revenue month of the year.
Why did this happen? The very machine or monster that Ethan built, off of commenting on the flaws of other creators, began to eat him alive. A Frankenstein of his own making that he thought he controlled, but began to control him.
Oh, here it is. He took the Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde potion. He's turning into the Goblin. I'm the fucking Green Goblin, you know? It's over.
Before we dive into this heavy video,
I don't know, like, I don't necessarily agree with that characterization of what happened with the show. I don't think it was necessarily like Ethan Klein created an audience that criticizes a bunch of people and then he started getting criticized by that audience. I think it's pretty clearly like leftovers and him just getting like more and more friendly with the leftist and more political parts of the internet. And then the October 7th breakup where he just lost his mind because he suddenly had to face the reality of being a liberal Zionist and that inherent contradiction. That inherent contradiction broke his brain. You can't be a leftist online while being a liberal Zionist. And so then he decided to go to war with the leftists because he did kind of go crazy trying to prove himself right. Oh yeah, she could definitely kill Bill if she wanted to. And she's wearing a leather jerkin while doing an ASMR video about Ethan Klein. She could do the 5-palm punch of death on Kill Bill's heart.
let's take a moment for today's sponsor. Finding the right doctor is an incredibly personal process.
Unethical reacts.
Very different from the usual. A huge stance I have is always being empathetic to everyone, viewing all sides, understanding the story in its entirety. Ethan has a long history online, and I'm sure I won't be able to fully do that justice, but I'm going to try my best in this video to understand the situation completely and what took place, and empathize with all parties involved as much as possible. So many other influencers that Ethan has run into and has had controversies with have had their own set of controversies, especially lately, which has made this video particularly anxiety-inducing, as I do not want to make it look like I am siding with any influencer over another. Or in this video, I'll empathize with an influencer, as I always tried to do, and boom, literally the next day, they have a major controversy. Even though other influencers' controversies is not the focus of this video, I feel the need to touch on those briefly so this video doesn't appear one-sided.
Are we gonna bring up the Hassan said 9/11? Hassan shocking his dog. I really can't think of any other controversies that has gotten brought up about Hassan recently. There was the thing where he was watching, what was it? It was Houthi propaganda, and he's like, this is sick music. That was big, but that was like a year and a half ago now. So what are the controversies?
I'm just trying to do my best here. I did not expect so many influencers to have so many controversies in the course of the few weeks that I put together this video. And I really want to make it clear that I do not side with or stan any influencer or public figure, especially lately with everyone being overall disappointing. I think
I stand and side with Cruel World Happy
that
Mind.
Ethan Klein is a reflection of a lot of what many of us are feeling in society. Fear, paranoia, division. While I don't want to add to that, I want to speak to it. I feel like I would be doing myself a disservice if I ignored what's happening currently. That being said, after this video, I'm planning to start a new series on my channel called Internet Archives, where I'm essentially diving into internet drama and pop culture moments in history with dramatic twists that have happened throughout the history of the internet and social media. Think diving into the history of Dramageddon, diving into the old internet history of the Try Guys, and so on. I also want to provide the disclaimer that any discussion that brings up will not be tolerated in this video. I do not believe that any group of people should be hated or vilified. That being said, I also believe that finding justice should never be through killing others. It's a cruel world, and to cause more harm is to continue the cruelty. I also want to say I'm not an expert in Palestine.
I do appreciate the disclaimer that you included at the beginning of we shouldn't murder people. Okay, really covering your bases here.
Palestine and Israel and the conflict happening there that's been happening since Israel's inception, it seems. While I'll be speaking on that issue because it relates to later on Ethan's career, I also want to recommend these podcasts that I think go into the history and political context much better than I ever could. My favorite.
You're recommending podcasts? Podcasts, dude, what have we fallen to where it's like, oh, if you want a good resource to understand the history of Israel and Palestine, here's a podcast. Okay, well, I guess she listened to that. There are some good books that you can read too. Or, okay, I'm sure these podcasts are great. Actually, I'm not so sure that they're great. Hopefully they are, though.
Favorite podcast to listen to is the Throughline podcast by NPR. They've done many podcasts on this issue. Some of my favorites is the podcast on settlements, the podcast on the history of Hamas, and the podcast on Palestine. I think much of these podcasts give a fairly well-rounded but in-depth approach that shows the historical context and how we arrived at this point. Also, I'm terrified to...
You made a follow-up video. Look, listen, I've called it a conflict before simply because I need another term to use other than every time. Like, in the most technical sense of the term, it is a conflict, but that is diminishing the scale of brutality that Israel is doing upon Palestinians. So you can say conflict, that's fine, but what we are seeing here is that she is playing both sides. She is fence-sitting, she is covering Israel and Palestine without doing the bare minimum, which is putting the majority of the weight of the deaths on Israel's shoulders. And that is what you need to be doing when there is an active happening right now. So look, you can call it a conflict, but you can't call it a conflict and then move on. You need to, you can call it a conflict in the context of you describing a happening. Like, that's what you need to do. So yeah, it is kind of a red flag if you're like, yes, this is a conflict of Palestinians and Israelis ever since the beginning of Israel, and I'm just not going to get into it. Okay, well, maybe you should. Maybe you should get into it. I think that anyone with a platform should be speaking out about this because it's relevant to it's relevant to everyone. If you are a athlete and you run like a sports podcast, whether you talk about internet drama, whether you talk about food, this is a that's happening right now, and it is relevant for everyone to be talking about it. Doesn't matter what kind of content you put out there, you can find ways to make it relevant to your content and be a voice on the issue. And honestly, the fact that there are apolitical people talking about it is even better than just political people talking about it and trying to get people's awareness about this increased. It is disappointing to see, but you guys are saying that she does a follow-up video on here.
Make this video because of all of the reports that Ethan has been doing, even some of the weirdly veiled threats I've been receiving through Instagram DMs and comments from some supporters of Ethan. Ethan filing false reports against creators who critique him.
I'm proudly reporting this guy for, let's see, the most terror. Is it remote terror? Kind of. I don't know if that's the most accurate. He is encouraging and cheering on violence against civilians.
So I also want to make very clear I'm not making this video in any hateful manner, but to simply document how a sort of downward spiral can occur and how, in my opinion, Ethan's downfall isn't the result of a mass cancellation, how this is actually Ethan's own undoing, or as many have wondered, whether Ethan was the same person the entire time and one day decided to go mask off, as Ethan Klein seems to live life by one very hypocritical rule. Rules for thee, but not for me, as this Redditor describes the downfall of the Kleins. The shortest...
The issue with an apolitical person covering the Ethan Klein downfall, right? You can't come at this from a YouTube drama perspective because it's not a YouTube drama perspective. This is a political issue. This is a political group of people, which are liberal Zionists, who have been existing under this contradictory worldview where Israel is simultaneously holding up all kinds of human rights. In the Middle East, they are the moral beacon of the Middle East. They are an extension of American exceptionalism and progress and egalitarianism in the Middle East, and yet they are an ethno-state. Like, we're talking about before October 7th. Israel is an ethno-state. They're doing 17th century style colonization in the West Bank. They have Gaza as a concentration camp, and they have different rules for different religions and races within Israel. So this is an inherent contradiction where these people that are Democrats, they say that they're progressive, they say that they stand up for social values, are completely fine with a just utterly brutal and racist form of domination from a country that they support. So it is that kind of contradiction which Ethan was confronted with, which broke his brain. And a lot of other liberals had their brains broken in the exact same way. So if you can't talk about that, then you can't talk about the Ethan Klein story and him breaking up with Hassan, because that is the impetus for him breaking up with Hassan. So anyway, I'm interested to see what she actually has to say, but like, she doesn't even have a segment on Israel and Palestine. She has a segment on the downward spiral, the end. Maybe we can talk about leftovers here. Does she talk about this a little bit more? Ethan's downfall goes beyond his Zionism, IMO. I mean, yeah, it's more than his Zionism, but that really was the driving force behind it. I think everything stems from that. Like, as I said, I think that it's like a psycho obsession with Hassan, but he was brain broken by October 7th. Guys, I am never going to do ad reads on here, no advertisers, not going to be sponsored by dick pills or whatever. If you want to support my work, encourage me to live stream more, please consider joining the channel. You'll get access to early content, you'll get members only content, and your name will be in green. That's so good.